What's up, everyone? It's your boy Norm Radd89 here, bringing you another review today, here to talk about Scott Derricksons' The Black Phone. Yes, I finally got a chance to check out this film, digested it over the night, got my coffee here this morning, and we are going to talk positives, negatives, and the rating. Then I'm going to send you all home. Sorry, it's early morning. And of course, we're going to try to keep this as non-spoiler best as possible because I want you guys to enjoy this film, and I'm going to tell you right now, it was a fantastic ride right off the bat. So let's get into this video. Roll it. The Black Phone follows a storyline as we see Ethan Hawke plays a character called the Grabber, who is kidnapping children and doing very bad things to them. And then we follow one of our main characters, Finney, and he has a sister, Gwen, as Finney is the boy who's kind of like that kid that's in school. He's got one friend or so, but he gets picked on a lot and stuff like that. And it's basically him and his sister kind of running their household a little bit because their dad's very, he's abusive and he's struggling to be a single dad. And like, there's a lot of family aspects in this film too as well. And then Finney ends up getting taken by the Grabber, and Gwen and everybody and the cops have to kind of find him, and the detective case ensues. So let's get into the positives, the negatives, and the rating. And right now, starting off with the positives right away, is the acting. I think the acting, for being a film that is mostly child actors, they all do a very good job and all have their own unique way about them. My standout favorite is Madeline McGraw. She plays Gwen, and she's like the best character and has such the great dialogue, and she's a very down sister for sure, and probably one of the best sisters you can have in a film. And like I said, for being a film that is carried mostly by child actors, I think they all do a very serviceable job. Another great positive with this film is the atmosphere. It's definitely not a jump scary type film. It's much more in the same vein as like a Sixth Sense or a Stir of Echoes. It has a lot of atmosphere, great 70s, nature to it, and it's very nostalgia, and the authenticity of the 70s is really strong throughout the film, be it the costume design, the cars, the way some of the scenes are shot with that old school kind of 70s home video footage, like real kind of look. Oh man, it's really up there, like I said, in terms of authenticity of a 70s type movie. Another thing I really enjoyed about this film is just the thrill factor in it. Like I said, it's not a very jump scary film, but it's a heavy atmospheric film, and it keeps the tension and the thrills throughout the whole movie. And there are some little twists here and there, and it's not like major twists or anything wild, but there are kind of a couple twists here and there throughout the film. And it also does have a supernatural feel to it, as Finney, when he's kidnapped by the Grabber and he's taken to an underground like cellar type place that's soundproofed and stuff, he ends up getting phone calls from a black phone, and the phone is all the previous victims of the Grabber, and they kind of talk to Finney, have little moments with him where they give him ideas and tell him what they did and try to help him escape from the Grabber. We have to talk about Ethan Hawke, the Grabber, of course, the main dude. A lot of the reason why people went to go see this movie is because Ethan Hawke is very strong, and I think he delivers very well in terms of horror aspect and a villain. He's a good villain actor, and like I said, in horror movies, he kind of just knows his realm. He really can get into the movie and create a character and put in subtle, nuanced elements in his character that really stand out. Like the Grabber, we don't learn a lot about him, and we don't end up knowing a lot about him. And it's just, like I said, you have to pick up on subtle, nuanced things that he does, like the way he sits, or the way he talks, or the way he projects himself, to Finney when he's talking to him and stuff like that. And this film does have a really good pace too. It doesn't take a long time to take off, and the Grabber, even though he's not in like the very first act that much, the Grabber, you can still feel his presence throughout the whole movie looming. It's about an hour and 43-minute movie, and like I said, it still goes by very fast, so it's not going to demand you sitting on the couch very long. And like I said, the thrill factor, it's really there, tense throughout the whole movie, but there's not a lot of jump scare moments, so don't expect like being super scared or anything like that. It's just a really good story, and I think Scott Derricksons' direction was perfect for this film. Now let's get into the mixed and negatives, because there are a couple things more like they're like nitpicky negatives. They're not huge negatives, but they're like nitpicky things, more like a personal taste thing for me. One of the negatives that I have for this film is that I really wish Madeline McGraw was in it more, like his sister Gwen. She's a great character, my favorite character in the film, and yes, she is very prominent in the movie, and her visions do help service the story. Like, she's great. Like I said, she's my favorite part of the film, but I really wish she was in it more, and that we as a viewer were more into the discovering things, you know what I mean? Looking for clues and finding out stuff with her. You know, she's in it, but I wish it was more of a detective thing with her side. Like, her side was just as much of a story as Finney's. His does kind of overtake hers a little bit because he has a lot more screen time in this film, I think. Another nitpicky thing for me that's, like I said, more of a personal taste thing is I like my films, horror films, to have more rated R. I expected maybe 2 gruesome scenes in here. Like, I just wanted some more gruesome rated R stuff. Like, that's just, like I said, a personal taste for me, because how I would describe this film is very in the vein of Stir of Echoes or Sixth Sense. It's a very high-class PG-13 thriller with really good, really good story and dialogue and characters and stuff. And I believe this film has a rated R. I can't remember if it was rated R. I think it is, but I think it's mainly for the dialogue. There's a lot of cussing in this film and stuff like that. But in terms of intensity and gore and all that stuff, I'm much more of a gore hound. So I wanted a couple scenes of maybe intense gore or like brutality, but we don't really get that. So don't go in expecting a scare fest or an extreme gore fest, because that's not what this film is. This film's much more of an ambiance, atmospheric type film that focuses on the story and the characters to take you through the film. As you can tell, I totally recommend checking out The Black Phone. It is A-class and easily one of the best films that came out this year. And like I said, it was very top-notch, well acted, well directed, and like a great ambiance. And in my book, The Black Phone's gonna get a 9 out of 10. This is, like I said, a very freaking solid film. Ethan Hawke delivers in spades. Love that character. I just really wish, one thing for me is I hope they just leave it at this film. I don't really need a prequel film. I don't need a sequel film, nothing like that. I want this to be the solo Black Phone story, and just leave it at that, because this film is like really good as it is, and I don't think we need any other films in this universe to try to like meddle with this. I think The Black Phone is badass. Leave it as it is, but let me know in the comment section what you think, because these are just my thoughts. I would love to hear from all of you on The Black Phone. Were you on as high up on this film as I was? Or are you kind of middle, mediocre ground? Or like, if there's people out there that didn't like this film, I would love to hear from all of you as well, because we are all different. That's the best thing about us. And don't forget to like and subscribe too, so you don't miss a thing on the channel. And have a safe and happy day, everyone. Peace out.